Okay, welcome everybody. If you can hear me, could you please just indicate that you can hear me? I know you won't be able to unmute yourself, but you can type in the chat to indicate that you can hear me. Our guest for today's edition is already in the room as well. Welcome everyone. I'm seeing your messages now. Welcome. Welcome to today's edition of Emigrate Open Day. We'll get started. We'll get started immediately. Thank you for joining us. My name is Bade Adeshamo. I'm co-founder and CTO for Social Lender, amongst many other things, and I'll be your facilitator for today's session. We have our guest in the room already, as I mentioned earlier, and we look forward to a fantastic, inspiring, and educating session. Today's edition of Emigrate Open Day is one in a series that we've been doing since about December 2020, where we've been speaking about tech-enabled visa pathways, tech-enabled visa opportunity, tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement, which is what Emigrate is about. Over the last few months or so, we've had different sessions. The immediate past session was with Tolu Ogushina, who is a network engineer and a technology entrepreneur. And he was speaking to us particularly about the United Kingdom pathway. He spoke to us about the Global Talent Visa, which is he was a recipient of. He spoke to us about his own experience and so on. Today, we're going to be having Chidinma speaking to us, particularly about New Zealand, about an opportunity in New Zealand. But she'll be talking to us generally about these things that are available to us that many of us may not be paying attention to. And for next week, we'll be having another edition of the Open Day, and we'll be having the Itayo Gumola, who is the CEO of Utiva, and he would also be sharing some things with us. Previously on Emigrate Open Day, we've spoken about different countries and different opportunities available in different countries. And I will encourage us, for those of us that have missed one session or the other, and you are particularly interested in that country, I will encourage us to watch the video. We've had Okweyemi talking about the US from a particular point of view because of the visa pathway that he took to the US. We've had Toby speaking about the US as well from a different point of view. We've had Shino also speaking about the US, and he was speaking from a student point of view where he was able to get a graduate assistantship, and then from there he was able to move to the US, and he's doing great things today outside of Nigeria. We've also had for the UK someone speaking to us about the innovator visa and the pathway and how they've been able to get that innovator visa. We've had people speaking to us about the startup visa, speaking to us about the Tech Nation visa, and several others as well. All of this have been available and is available for you. If you are not familiar with any of those pathways, I would encourage us to please take a look at some of those previous videos, because we want to add more information and also hear from someone else's perspective today. I would just say for some of the members of our community that have applied, this is something that we found as a trend, and we thought is something that we need to start talking about because one of the members of our community, and this is something that has happened more than once, actually, very frequently, in fact, where we apply, and then once you apply, you're expecting to get some sort of ceremonious letter or so in your inbox. And really what you would get is just an email. The email update is just application update. And that itself is that mail you've been waiting for that will change your life. So please don't miss that mail by expecting some sort of letter or anything like that. It's just a simple email, really. Because don't forget, one of the things we've said in these Emigrate Open Days is the fact that these countries want you. As long as you are able to show that you are you are globally attractive, as long as you're able to show that you are going to add value to them, they want you to come to their country. That's exactly what it is. And so it's not really so much about them doing you a favor. It's the other way around. They see that you are going to be able to do them a favor because you are going to come, you are going to add value innovation to their economy, or you are going to create new jobs, or you are going to add whatever it is that you are bringing. And so they don't want baggage. What they want is people that will be able to add value. And so the question is, are you going to be able to add value at the end of the day? So what is Emigrate? For us, Emigrate is set up for one thing, to help people become globally attractive. That is what Emigrate is about. And we do this, we know many of us came here because we want to find out about tech-enabled visas, but it goes beyond that. One of the things we say is that if you are able to show yourself as globally attractive, the visas will follow. You would have options. You will be able to say, oh, I want to go to the UK or the US or France and so on, because you are globally attractive. There are two ways you could either focus on becoming, there are two ways you can focus on becoming globally attractive. Is either using your tech-enabled profile. And so that's you as an individual going to those places to apply for those opportunities. Or it could be your tech-enabled business where you have a startup of some sort, or you are a senior executive of a startup of some sort, and you are able to also apply to say you want to come to that economy because you are bringing your business and you are adding value to their economy. Please understand this again. The visa itself is a side effect of something bigger, the side effect of you being globally attractive. What does that mean in really? What that means is that when you go there, aside from you living wherever you are in Africa at the moment, whether Nigeria or Ghana or Kenya or wherever you are joining us from, aside from you living, eventually, if you go to your new country, right, you need to add value, you need to earn income and so on. So the question is, how are you planning to do all of those things anyway? And so if you know that I can start doing some things today, which is going to help me to earn that income in the future, then you want to start doing those things, because over a period of time, you can graduate to doing bigger and bigger and bigger things. For Emigrate, at Emigrate, we do a lot of things for free. And I say to people that many of the things that people need to start are things that you can get for free, particularly at Emigrate. The first one is for us, information and also inspiration. And the reason for that is that we want a situation where people can be inspired and people can know that, oh, there's information available for me. And I'll also be inspired to know that, oh, these things are things that I can actually qualify for. Because one of the things that happens is that a lot of people don't realize that these things that we are talking about, these are things that you yourself can qualify for. So sometimes when you hear things like, oh, exceptional talent, some people think that, oh, it cannot be me. When you hear things like, oh, global talent, and this is available both in the UK and also in the US, right? The O1 visa, which is exceptional, is the equivalent of the exceptional talent, is also available in the US. And so some people will say, oh, it can't be me. Or more important, I can't prepare to be that person within the next 1 to 2 years or 3 years or whatever it is that it takes. The interesting thing is that they've given you the answer sheet. They've given you what your profile should match. And so the question is, are you going to take a pathway for you to say, oh, within the X possible number of months or years, depending on where you are today, I will plan my profile to meet that category that they are looking for. And for us, that's one of the most important things. We also have created a community around this for people that are interested, right? For you to also be able to meet other people that are interested in such opportunities. We currently run the monthly open days as well for free, particularly for members of the Emigrate community. In the future, the open days will be paid sessions, particularly because we are supposed to pay our speakers and our guests. We are supposed to at least be able to give them honorarium and all of that, but we don't at the moment. They are doing this, also volunteering their time, because they want to help this community, because they want you to grow, because they want you to become globally attractive as well. You also have access to introductory videos, and you have access to short inquiry session. It's limited for now to just one short inquiry session per person, and it's a 10-minute session. Something I would advise is that please, when you are booking that session, ensure that you have done your research. Don't come into that session trying to ask questions that you could have found out at the open day. Don't come asking questions that you could have found out by simply doing a Google search. Come to that session asking questions that, oh, you are not sure about because you've done your research, you spent time and you are serious about this pathway and you want, because you only get one shot at it. And after that, you would have to pay for that kind of session. Of course, we do have premium services as well. The Emigrate Circle, for example, we have the personalized consultation services, we have the standard package, and my favorite package is actually the Emigrate Premium service, and it's 1.2 million naira. But the interesting thing is that for that service, it's a 1 to 2 year program where there's a lot of coaching, handholding, and so on for whatever it is that you need for you to become that globally attractive and also qualify for the different visa categories and visa options that may be available. I won't be able to have time to speak about all Sorry about that. I got disconnected somehow. I'm back now. Yes, you're right. You can't hear me because I got disconnected, but I'm back in the room now. Can you hear me now? I will assume you can.
We can hear you.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for that. Yeah, sorry about that. I got disconnected. So I was saying that you can take a screenshot of this slide because there are different visa opportunities that are available to you today. The question is, were you aware of these opportunities before now? Have you done your research about the requirements? Are you familiar with what they are? And are you already planning your profile to match what they are looking for each one of these opportunities? And our guest today is also going to be speaking to us about one of such opportunities. I would have taken much longer than I wanted to, so I will just yield the floor now to Chidinma. She's going to be speaking for about 15, 20 minutes about her own journey, particularly around the Edmund Hillary Fellowship from New Zealand. And that's one of the opportunities that she was able to she was able to get. And also, recently, Chidinma won a national award. So congratulations to her. I was supposed to write down the name of the award, but yeah, I'm sure she will speak about it as well, which was a national award. And she got a fantastic donation, I believe, from the federal government of Nigeria. Whichever way, the point is Chidinma is globally attractive, and she's going to be sharing some information around what her journey has been like so far, and more importantly, what are some of the things that you'll be able to do yourself as well. Once we're done with that, then we will take questions and answers. Please, if you have questions, we encourage you to please drop them in the chat because we will take those questions first, the questions that came from the community, both the Emigrate community and our premium community, which is a paid one, the Emigrate Circle, before we will then be able to open the floor to any other questions. So that being said, welcome, Chidinma. Thank you for honoring our invitation. And over to you, Chidinma. You're on mute, Chidinma.
Okay, I think this is brighter.
Yes, yeah. It is brighter now.
All right. So hello everyone. I can't really see everybody, but good evening from Nigeria. I'm still in Nigeria. I would like to share about my journey into becoming an Edmond Hillary Fellow. I first of all, the Edmond Hillary Fellowship is a fellowship for entrepreneurs and investors. It's basically a fellowship that attracts entrepreneurs and investors into New Zealand. And you're given a visa called the Global Impact Visa. And with this visa, basically the idea is to New Zealand becomes an incubation country that you can, grow your startup from there to the rest of the world. So they attract a lot of like entrepreneurs from like different parts of the world, especially the US. And I think for now, there are just 2 Nigerians in the entire fellowship. There are about 536 fellows, if I'm correct. And there are just 2 Nigerians, one person in cohort 7 and me in cohort 8. So, which means that a lot of Nigerians do not even know about this opportunity, or maybe they are not applying, or maybe they are not, maybe scaling through the final stage. How I'll talk a bit about how I got to know about it. I saw their ad on Facebook. I went to their Facebook page and saw the application, and I applied. The application process was pretty long. There were like different stages, but one of the things that stood out for me was that, first of all, the application, there was an application fee, even to just apply, you have to pay an application fee. And I think that alone would have put off a lot of people, and but then, the application fee was $500, but there was an option to apply for scholarship if you knew that, you couldn't afford to pay that, which was something that, was really good. One of the reasons why I applied to the fellowship was not to jackpot. At that point, I wasn't even thinking about leaving because because I didn't even introduce myself. My husband and I, we have a startup called the Footwear Academy. It's a footwear training school. We are based here in Aba. We started in Lagos, and we're 4 years now, and we moved to Aba, and we're growing like maybe the largest footwear hub in Africa right now. We have an alumni strength of over 250 shoemakers. We've introduced, like, we're also growing into different parts of leather works, and we're really doing very well here in Nigeria. So there was no reason to want to jackpot per se, but there was COVID-19 and the world had shut down, and then I saw this opportunity, and what attracted me to it was the fellowship itself and the kind of people that were in the fellowship. So we have people that have invested in Facebook, Google. We had people that had developed their own Bitcoin. We had like an amazing community of like fellows that, even just having that opportunity to have those people in your fellowship, or like a family, like we call ourselves a family in the fellowship, or something that attracted me to it. And that was one of the reasons why I was even applying, because I wanted to be in the fellowship. I wanted to be part of that community of entrepreneurs and investors that were going to change the world. So that's one good thing. Then getting the global impact visa, and the good thing about the global impact visa is that you don't even necessarily need to be in New Zealand. You can come in, you can even come in with your team, which is another thing about the visa. You can apply as in applying for Edmond Hillary Fellowship, you can apply as an individual, or you can apply as a team. And each team member gets to come with their family. So it was really amazing, because it's like an amazing opportunity. Like if I wanted to approach the Footwear Academy from Nigeria per se and go with every team member of my team, I could do that under the Edmond Hillary Fellowship. So because they believe so strongly in what the fellows are building, and they believe that, if you really need your team to function in New Zealand without, like, if you can't do this alone and you need a team, then why not come with your team and stuff like that. But because it was new and I didn't even know anybody that had applied before, I applied as an individual. Also because I was just testing the waters. And so I applied, which allows my husband to also, so that your partners are also part of the fellowship. So they have like, so we're all in a Slack community, and our partners are also added. So your partner can be your husband, or just maybe your partner that you love, or somebody that is just a partner, basically. And so my husband is also on the Slack community. He also gets to participate in EHF events, and he gets emails as well. So it's really, really like it was really an exciting opportunity. One of the things that positioned me well for that is that two things, right? I have like something I have built. So you have to have built something, and you have to, I also had like a good online presence. So I was telling the story of my growth. I was, like if you search for Chidinma Chukwuemeka or Chidinma Emodi Chukwuemeka, you would see a lot of content around me. And during the application process, after I had applied, they asked a lot of questions about you, right? I noticed that, because I use LinkedIn a lot, I noticed that somebody from Edmond Hillary Fellowship sent me a LinkedIn request, and I also use LinkedIn Premium. So I know people that are searching for me, and I noticed that they had gone to search and looked through my profile. And so I was already happy that, oh, these guys looked through my LinkedIn. They're going to be impressed with Chidinma on LinkedIn and stuff. Because, my LinkedIn, I tell a lot of story about my growth, about the academy, about, all the awards that I'm winning and stuff. So if you look at my LinkedIn, you'll be like, oh, this is somebody I want in New Zealand, something like that. And, so for other people listening to me today, you have to have built something, either you're building a career or you're building a business, and you have to have something. You have to have something that you can contribute to the country that you are applying to. And then secondly, you have to tell your story. So what is your online footprint like? Like, what is your online presence? Like, what are you saying online? Are you, most people, they have like things that they come online and they're cracking like, very silly jokes, talking anyhow, and just, being careless online. The thing is that everybody that is searching, that even visa officers are looking at people's online profiles now and stuff. So we had to submit our Facebooks, our Twitter, our Instagram, our LinkedIn pages and stuff like that in the application process. And they looked at it. They even looked at my husband's page as well. So you have to be deliberate, even if you've not done anything at all, you can start today to start to build something. Even if you don't have to be an entrepreneur like me, you can, start building your career, start taking courses. You can start telling the story of your growth, start talking about, start motivating people, start inspiring somebody, start doing something. Because the thing now is this, right? A lot of people are waiting to jackpot, right? And, just because they're waiting to travel out or leave the country, they're not even contributing to the country where they are in right now. So I have this Edmond Hillary Fellowship, right? And the borders are closed, so I can't even go to New Zealand now. But, in Nigeria, I'm doing so much. Like, even I'm like, oh, this border closure is such a blessing because, I get time to spend more time here, to do a lot more, right? So, I'm still here. I'm still winning awards. We're still, opening up new office branches. My friends are like, I thought you're supposed to be going to New Zealand to open up like your business and all. And I'm like, yeah, their border is closed, but I'm in Nigeria. I have to make the money here. So we're still opening up new offices. We're hiring new staff. We're doing stuff. We're, setting up structures that can run without us for the time being when we're away. And, so basically the fact that you can, the fact that you are a contributor in your country is going to make you globally attractive. So you can't not be a contributor in Nigeria and feel like you're going to, wait till you get to UK or US or New Zealand or Canada before you can start contributing to that economy. It doesn't work that way. So if you are contributing a lot, if you are a very instrumental person in your country, any country in the world is going to want you because, they want your kind of person, a person that is a nation builder. That's exactly who you are. So a nation builder is not thinking, I'm not going to prosper in Nigeria. I can't prosper in Nigeria. No. A nation builder is a person that knows that it doesn't matter place I am in, I have a duty to that nation to make it grow, and that nation to make it grow. So the same thing I'm doing in Nigeria is basically what I'm going to do in New Zealand, solve problems. And so problem solvers are people that nations want. So, but is there any other thing? You can ask me questions and then I'll answer.
Yeah, Chidinma, could you give us a bit insight into your journey from you graduated from school, all of that? I know. So people don't know about some of the things you've done. So you've spoken about winning awards and all of that, but could you share a bit more? And about the car as well. I was hoping you would get to that.
That's a lot. I can't even go into my school, but I can't even go into that. But I could talk about the Footwear Academy, right? Okay, my school, I read zoology in school. I read zoology at the University of Nigeria, graduated, and was fortunate enough to get a job in the marketing, in a marketing department of a telecom company. So I worked in telecom for 2 years, went on to a tech company where I did like digital marketing, did a digital marketing certification, worked in that tech company, and started up my own digital marketing firm. I was also teaching digital marketing at the time, so I got into a bit of tech from the tech company, then opened up my own digital marketing firm. Then as an entrepreneur, I got called back into paid employment, now into like an advertising company. And from then on, I got married, and my husband and I decided to start out the Footwear Academy. We didn't have funds, but we just started it out on our own. I had to resign to face our new baby, and the Footwear Academy is currently 4 years. We started out in Lagos, and one of the things that, because we didn't have funds, right? One of the things that I did, was I used to apply it. Like Mazan was like, we separated our roles. I was the person going after the money. He was the person doing most of the shoes and all the work, and I was busy looking at the funding part. So I was like the person in the person that goes around to pitch for the business and talk about the academy. So my face was everywhere. And we're in Lagos then, so I was attending all the events, any pitching events, I was there. So everybody just knew this Chidinma that couldn't stop talking about shoemaking and stuff. So we won a couple of grants. We've won, I think every year from 2017 to 2021, we've won one competition or the other. So we've always won, we've always applied and won things. Like from 2017, we won, we took second in Open Mic Africa. We won $500. Open Mic Africa, yes. Won $500. Then the next year, 2018, we won the Proudly Made. We came to Aba and won the Proudly Made in Aba hackathon. And we won $50,000.
This is being recorded, so I thought to mention it's being recorded just in case.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but go ahead. Yeah.
So we won $50,000 from Ford Foundation in 2018, which helped us to travel, to now actualize our dream of traveling to Italy, because we always wanted to travel to Italy to, properly learn shoemaking, visit all the amazing shoemakers we know, and, just basically dive into, the European shoemaking space and stuff. So, so that funding really helped us to travel. We traveled, Europe, we learned a lot, then came back and now, basically strengthened our shoemaking skills and introduced shoemaking courses and moved to Aba. And we've been doing that. We've been in Aba since 2019 till date. What else? We've won a couple of awards, after that. But the recent one we won the National MSME Award. It's hosted by the Vice President of Nigeria, and we won in our category award for excellence in leather works. So we won 1 million naira and a brand new car. So yeah.
Congratulations, Chidinma. Congratulations, really, really exciting. Before I move on to talking about the Edmond Hillary Fellowship, because I know many people would like to find out more about it, when would the next application round open and all of that, I wanted to ask a question. I mean, a lot of the things you've spoken about particularly hasn't been so much tech and all of that. And one of the reasons why I wanted you on this open day really is to be able to inspire our audience. It doesn't have to be tech. but I know you've been in tech and then you've done other things as well. Can you speak a bit more about that, particularly to the people wondering, oh, what should I do? Should I force myself to learn programming and all of that? What are your thoughts?
So I'm not in tech, right? Even though I know tech, right? I'm not in tech. I'm not a tech person, and I've never pitched tech. I have only pitched shoemaking, leatherworks, and that's what I've done. So my advice to people is that, if you have passion for a particular area, or this is who you are, maybe you're a human resource person, or you are an accountant, right? So go on and be the best in that industry, because every job is not tech. Do you understand? So people are going to wear shoes. That's what I think. Any part of the world, anyway. So I'm bringing that skill. I'm concentrating on becoming an authority in my own niche. So the important thing is that wherever you are, or whatever career path or whatever niche that you find yourself, make sure that you're developing yourself in that area, you're contributing and you're telling your story. As long as you're doing that, you are going to be globally attractive. So whatever you're doing, so just stay on it, gain knowledge, gain certification. Like I hope you also understand that my husband and I had to travel to UK to learn. So the fact that we want to travel is also something, because once you travel, you're no more a novice, basically. So you travel, you gain a bit of exposure that allows you to also be able to pitch yourself. So if you can, travel, and travel for vacation, travel for study, travel, and it also gives you a bit of an edge.
Yeah,
yes, in that exposure.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Chidinma. And I know some questions are already dropping in the chat, but could you tell us a bit more about the fellowship? The community we've been building are for people in tech. And so we've always focused on tech-enabled visa pathways, at least for now. But could you tell us a bit more about the fellowship, Edmond Hillary?
Okay, so the Edmond Hillary Fellowship is a fellowship, like I said, for entrepreneurs and investors. So you have to be an entrepreneur and an investor, or an investor. So there are two applications for both, and it's a family, and they have different cohorts. Cohort 8, which is the most recent cohort that got in last year. It was a pilot program, and it was in so they have the pilot program. So they're in partnership with Immigration New Zealand, and they created this. No, the fellowship is in partnership with the Immigration New Zealand to create a visa called the Global Impact Visa, which is typically a 30-month work visa that leads to permanent residence. So a lot of our fellows from I think cohort 1 to like 5 or so, they've all gotten their permanent residence right now. So after like 30 months, you get your PR. So it's a family, and it's like I don't even know what else to say about it. It's just a family.
So I think what people would like to know is, how can they apply? Do they need to start positioning themselves? What can they do now to qualify for the next round or something like that, and so on? I believe that those would be some of the questions.
Yeah, so the problem is that COVID like spoiled a lot of things, right? So the pilot ended last year with cohort 8, and for now the fellowship is trying to get all the fellows into the country that are scattered all over the world. All the fellows in cohort 6, 7, and 8 that were affected by COVID-19, trying to get us into the country to at least get started, although some of us have started work already. But there's also talks that it's a success. The pilot program was a success, even though we haven't come in. And there are talks that eventually they're going to open it up. Maybe when the world finally opens up, maybe they'll do another application, maybe to get more fellows in. What I would advise most people is that, first of all, you can go and follow the page. You can go and follow the page on social media. Is Edmond Hillary Fellowship. So you follow the page to just stay updated on on events and stuff. Follow them, and a lot of the fellows are what do you call them, entrepreneurs, right? And most of them are investors. So what happens is that these guys are creating up businesses, right? And these businesses are going to need teams. So, you can never, so basically keep doing what you're doing. And if New Zealand is something you want to do, then, go on LinkedIn and, keep looking out for jobs in New Zealand, because there's also other visas aside from this global impact visa that I'm talking about. I know a lot of like critical skill work. They're even giving border exemptions to a lot of like tech people that are critical workers in New Zealand. So if you can look at that, there are a lot of opportunities there, and most of these jobs are posted on LinkedIn, and people don't even use that LinkedIn search a lot. So you can look at LinkedIn and see, narrow your search to New Zealand and see some of the work visa, some of the job opportunities that are opening up, even though the border is closed now. So there are jobs that have like border exemptions and stuff like that, especially if you're a tech person or I think agriculture or something like that. So, you have to look into that area. Whatever country you're interested in, you have to follow them, look at for updates, read more about it, and follow specific startups that are in that that are in those countries, so when they're recruiting, and then you can better position yourself. Like if, for instance, you have a startup on your mind and they are recruiting for maybe a product manager, and you apply for it, or you send a message, maybe a LinkedIn message to this the owner of the company, like maybe CEO or something like that, and the person likes you and they interview you, the person can give you border exemption to come into New Zealand, sent to New Zealand. There are a fellowship of entrepreneurs and investors. It means that we're constantly creating companies that will need people. Do you understand? So it's a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah.
But I personally, on my page,
yeah.
I am the other Nigerian. We know that we will definitely do like a lot of, like, once it opens up, our plan is actually to get a lot of Nigerians to know about the fellowship and to apply for the next cohort. If there's when there is a next cohort, I am the other person in cohort 7. We already have plans that, a lot of Nigerians are going to like get the opportunity, because I know a lot of Nigerians are really good and they will contribute a lot when they get to New Zealand. So we don't want to be the only people there. It's going to be so lonely. It's going to be so lonely and boring. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
definitely.
So you've spoken both for the entrepreneur and also to the people, employee critical skills, and I'm going to come to the critical skills shortly. But I'll just drill down on the global impact visa particularly, and ask that, imagine that the visa opens up again in 2 or 3 years time. By then I'm sure COVID will have gone away and all of that. Could you describe the profile of the person that would fit in or get that kind of visa? So it has to be an entrepreneur, but what kind of traction, what are the things they will be looking out for? Because the people on this call today, some of them can start planning for that in the near future.
So some of the things that, so from the application process, like I had like 3 interviews. Yes, I had 3 different interviews, or 2. I can't remember now. But so they had like and that's aside the application and all the questions they asked. But one of the things they narrowed down is on you, who you are as an individual. Some of the questions they've asked me is, give us instances where you failed and what you've done, or if you failed in your startup and what you've done. And I had to submit for background check. I had to submit 6 references. I had to submit like 2 mentees, 2 colleagues, and 2 mentors. So basically, you have to have people you've mentored, right? So you can imagine, you can see their thought pattern, and it was easy for me to give them those names, because I have people like mentor, and it was easy for me to tell my mentees, people are going to contact you, and they're going to like ask you questions about me. And I didn't have to start influencing that process because there's nothing to influence. I actually mentor people, and I submitted names of 2 mentors because I actually have mentors and 2 colleagues here. So you think about that. If you're a person and they contact, if in 2 or 3 years time, they're contacting you and telling you to submit 2 mentees, 2 mentors, and 2 colleagues. Do you even have those people? Who have you mentored? And they actually did a Zoom meeting with these guys, so you can't even control the question that they were going to ask them. So it's not something that they will ask them, then they will now run to you to say, how do I answer this? No, it was a Zoom meeting. So you see how very serious and very particular they are about the people that they are selecting. So they had Zoom meetings with my mentors and Zoom meetings with my mentees and colleagues. And so, so they contacted 5 out of the 6 referees that I put up. And so you have to think about that process and start, contributing immediately. And they're also looking at you as an individual. Like, first of all, the fact that I have reached the Footwear Academy was enough leverage. And then we went on to look at the Footwear Academy. They asked me questions about the Footwear Academy, but they were asking questions based on the process in which we built it, what our thought pattern, what we plan to do because we didn't even pitch Footwear Academy for New Zealand, we pitched a whole different startup. And so they also went back to ask about the Footwear Academy and asked about this new startup that we're going to create in New Zealand, and what's going to happen if it fails. So how do you answer those questions? So if you're a person that gives up easily, or if it fails, I don't know what I'm going to do. So basically, you have to be a person, you have to start working on yourself. That's why I keep emphasizing it has 90%, you have a 90% chance of getting in if you develop yourself now and start contributing to Nigeria, because you have a story to tell. They will, in fact, at a point, it was more of, are you even going to come over? Because you are so invested in what you're doing in your country. So there was even that question had to come up, like, are you really going to, spend enough time in New Zealand, even though this visa gives you flexibility? And I had to now convince them and say, oh yes, of course I'm going to do. So it's not I want to run away kind of situation. So it's I'm already doing something here. I can come over there and create something very impactful. So that's the kind of person you should be. And that's what I always tell young people and, people when they keep complaining about Nigeria. I'm like, you have to contribute here, for you to be able to, wherever it is you find yourself in the world, you have to develop yourself for the country where you are, so that anywhere you find yourself, you would just prosper. So yeah.
Thank you so much for that. I see somebody is a bit impatient in the chat, so I'll pick the question now. Okay. But I'm coming to ask about the critical skill pathway that you touched on as well. So somebody was asking about differentiate tech from tech-enabled as it pertains to the Edmond Hillary Fellowship and how you fuse this into your application. I think Chidinma already answered this question because she didn't apply as a tech person. She applied as an entrepreneur making shoes. That's what she did, right? But what she's saying is that if you're in tech, for example, you can be a tech entrepreneur and be able to apply. And she did mention a few people in our own cohort who fit that category, not necessarily from Nigeria, but that fit that category. So I don't know, Chidinma, do you want to add to that answer?
So what I said is to that question was that, there are a lot of visa programs actually for people, and it doesn't have to be in tech, right? But even as a shoemaker, I have like a tech part to my business. So if there was, even though the Edmond Hillary Fellowship was not for technology, it wasn't for tech entrepreneurs, it was just for entrepreneurs basically. There is still a tech, like everything in the world, basically, a tech can enable everything in the world. So if, for instance, you're not even a tech entrepreneur, right? You still need to know how to use a lot of technology softwares and stuff like that. So you basically will be well positioned for jobs that ask for tech-enabled entrepreneurs or something like that. But for the Edmond Hillary Fellowship, lots of the other fellows are doing things in climate, agriculture, shoemaking, fashion, different areas. So it wasn't really all about tech. Some people were tech, some people were non-tech. So So yeah, so there are opportunities everywhere. You just have to look for it.
Fantastic.
And be well for it. Yeah.
And be well prepared. Could you say that again? And be well prepared, right?
Like I said, you have to look for it and be well positioned for it.
And be well positioned. Fantastic. All right. If you have other questions for our guests, please pop it in the chat and I'll do well to read it as quickly as possible. Chidinma, can we speak about the critical skills that you mentioned, particularly around the ones available to tech? I know you mentioned it briefly. I must say to our audience that this is not immigration advice. Please do well to do your own research. Go online. A lot of the things are in public domain, but Chidinma can give a perspective. Could you speak a bit more about those?
I think people can just go to the Immigration New Zealand website and just look on people that can qualify for border exemptions.
Okay.
Do you understand? So there are critical workers that they need. In fact, investors are also getting into New Zealand now. That's for investors that can do that want to do like a due diligence. So if you have a bit of money and you're an investor, right, you don't even have to be part of the fellowship. You can actually enter New Zealand now. So because you can just go in and look for a startup to invest in, and that's how you get in. So there are lots of you need to just go to the Immigration New Zealand website and you will see the border exemption list, and all you need to do is just look at it. If you qualify for it, then you apply. It's a long list. There are a lot of people that are able to enter into New Zealand right now.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. I would say again, if you have questions for the guests, please post in the chat. One question I always ask all our guests that come on Emigrate Open Day is this, that we have 3 categories of people in our Emigrate community, mostly majorly tech people, but 3 categories. The first are people that have 0 years of experience. So they are still even figuring out whether or not they should come into tech. They're just learning and all of that. And then the question is, what should they be doing to prepare themselves to show themselves as globally attractive? We're talking New Zealand today, but one of the things that's clear is that the same principle that applies in New Zealand that calls the visa Global Impact Visa is the same principle that applies in the UK that calls it the Global Talent Visa, is the same principle that applies in many other countries as well. So the first category, 0 years experience, what should they be doing right now, particularly for them positioning themselves? Second category of people are people that are 4 years, 5 years, 6 years in tech, and they are also looking at, what should be my next step? What should I be doing? And so the question is, what should they also, and what can you advise them right now? The third category are people that are very experienced, they've been in tech for years and so on, and they are also looking at, what are the options available to me? Could you speak to each one of these audience?
Wow. Okay, so for the first category, I'll say you're just starting out. So you have like a clean slate. So you can start taking courses now for, in tech or non-tech, or basically you have to hone your skills, because the reason why you can be a global citizen or globally attractive is that you have something you're offering. So what's that thing you can offer? So is it your web design skills, or is it, basically it has to be something. Or your product development, or there has to be something you bring into the world. And what is that? You have to think about that, and you have to think about the fact that there are also 100,000 people that are going to be competing with you, possibly for that particular visa. So it means that you have to be an excellent person. So it means you have to get all the knowledge that you need to get, and you have to also tell your story. The problem is that a lot of people are really good, but they don't know how to tell their story. So they're not well positioned for opportunities. They're not online. They're not also they're not checking online for opportunities, and they can also be found online. So even though the truth is that most of these opportunities are online. It's like a lot of opportunities. Like even this Edmond Hillary Fellowship, I didn't even know about it. I saw it on Facebook. So if I wasn't on Facebook browsing and then I see the ad, and if I wasn't inquisitive enough to click on it, I would have lost out on that. So joining communities like this, like the Beacon
Emigrate.
community, Emigrate community, okay, Emigrate community, and joining like, a couple of communities, they send a lot of like, opportunities. And these are opportunities that you might not even have the opportunity, you might not even have gotten the opportunity to even see and stuff like that. So you have to join communities, you have to hone your skills, and you have to tell your story. You have to tell your story. You have to talk about what you do. You have to, you basically have to like have like somebody needs to look at your profile and say, oh, this is a worthy person to come into this program and stuff like that. So yeah, you have to keep doing stuff. For people that I think the second category are for people that are
mid-career, 5-6 years experience,
mid-career people. Yeah. So with these guys, you need to Google yourself and check and see, what, maybe somebody else's phone to Google yourself, Google your name online and see what comes up. What are the things that comes up? Is it your Twitter page where you're posting about something that is non-relevant? So start thinking about that and start thinking about how you want to be seen online, because the truth is that most of these visas, they are checking you. Like for my fellowship, they did a lot of background check. And so if people are doing background check on you, what are they seeing? What are the things that they are, it's consistent. If you go on my social media, you see Chidinma, shoemaking, awards, it's like my growth is like this, it keeps going this way. So as a mid-level career person, you go gain the experience. Do people even know about those things? Are you mentoring people? Are you, sharing about the things that you've learned in your career? Are you taking courses? Basically, you need to be giving back to the people behind you, and then also seeking mentorship from the people ahead of you, and also contributing in the country where you are. That way, the fact that you're contributing and doing something today makes you a global citizen.
Yep.
It makes you a global citizen.
And the highly experienced people, 15 years, head of IT in a bank, things like that. Anything you can
Those ones are ready to go now, right? Because but it's the same thing. Like those ones, they are supposed to be mentoring other people right now. Mentoring the younger generation. You're supposed to be seen as somebody that you're coming in and you're coming in to change the scene. So you need to be telling your story a lot. Like you need to be providing solutions a lot. There's somebody I feel a lot of people on LinkedIn, and they talk a lot about what they do and how they're able to solve problems and all. That way, the fact that you're even an authority in a space makes you very attractive. So when there is an event, international speaking event, they're going to call you, right? And that's how you start traveling. Before you know it, somebody's offering you a job position in their country, or and that's how you live. Without even having to stress yourself about all the other visa this and visa that. No, if people want you because of your job experience and what you can contribute, they will do everything possible to take you out of where you are and bring you to where they are, so that you can contribute what you have in your head. So basically, you need to be. I feel like a lot of people are not well positioned for global opportunities because they're not telling their story. So try your best, try your best to tell your story, try your best to share community, join the community, and easy for you to, so everything is possible online.
Thank you so much, Chidinma, for that. You will be giving your final word in a few seconds. I just would like to just share a few more things from the Emigrate perspective, and then we would get the final word from Chidinma as well. So I'm just about sharing my slide. Remove spotlight. So we've heard a lot from Chidinma today, and she's been sharing pretty much the same story that we've been hearing, particularly around the Emigrate community. which is that become globally attractive. And if you become globally attractive, you would have options. This session is being recorded. And so if you need the video, the link to the video will be posted in the chat shortly. And please take the link to the video now because it's a premium resource right after this, and that will be sent in the chat shortly. Next edition of the Open Day is next week, Wednesday. We're having back-to-back Open Day this time around. And next week, Wednesday, we'll be hearing from the CEO of Itiva, who is also a UK global talent. He will be sharing about his journey as well. As I mentioned earlier, as regards the Emigrate community, we do a lot of things for free. However, there are also premium resources that you can get. For most people, starting what you need are some of the free resources that are already available. Starting from one of the things Chidinma said, go and Google it. For example, if you know that they are going to be asking you some questions in 2 years' time, why don't you know those questions today and start planning your career towards you being able to qualify around those questions? For those of us that already have the right skill and so on, she also mentioned the fact that there are border exemptions in New Zealand, for example. Have you taken a look at something like that? For Emigrate particularly, we focus on 4 key countries, which is the UK, US, Canada, and France. Those are the 4 countries that we have focused on. However, we are always going to bring guests who would also share information around many other options and opportunities that are available out there. The key point is if you are globally attractive, every country in the world will want you. We do have premium services as well that you can pay for. For example, the personalized consultation service. It's a 1-hour session where we can break down your profile, advise what you can target depending on where you are. And for some of us that are ready to apply, you would typically need someone to check through your application. Things like that are things that we can do within the Emigrate plan. And the premium service is a 1 to 2 year program. It's hand-holding, it's coaching, it's community, it's strategy, it's advisory, and so on as well. And that's part of the things that we offer within the Emigrate community. We do have quite a number of other services. One of them within the Bincom ecosystem is the Global Tech Program. It's a 1 to 2 year program, and the Emigrate Premium I just mentioned is actually incorporated into that program. It's a 1 to 2 year program that helps you to learn skills, gain experience, and then gain exposure in the field of technology. And the idea is that over a 2-year period, you can build your profile to become globally attractive, and you would have options. You start by learning, and for some of us that already have learned the skills, you need to have the right level of experience and the right level of exposure. Chidinma mentioned that as well, as the fact that many people, even though you have something to give, you don't show it enough. You don't show it on your profile enough. You don't show it in where you are enough. You are not even building where you are today. How do they know that you are able to add value in the country where you want to go to? They say that the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And so those are the things they are going to look at. Chidinma mentioned the fact that they were looking for different people you mentored, people that mentor you, and people that you have mentored. Those are some of the things that they are looking for. And if they are looking for those things, maybe you want to start building those things. And for some of us that are highly experienced and so on, one of the things that are available is Bincom as a mentoring platform where we have a bunch of people that are looking to be mentored. You can apply to become a mentor and then decide that, oh, I want to mentor 1 or 2 people and so on, because some of these things help you show that you are globally attractive, helps you become globally attractive. If you're interested in any of those services that Bincom offers, you can go to bincom.net/emigrate pricing, or you can send an email to emigrate@bincom.net, and you can find out much more about those services as well. So that being said, yes, so I see one more question, and then we'll also use that for Chidinma's last words. Do you do initial assessment and then suggest which package is suitable for the individual? Yes, we do. So that question was for Emigrate. Yes, we do. It's part of the Emigrate services. And we also have the Emigrate Circle, which is a premium community. And within that premium community, we would prefer that you look at different options. And then we are targeting multiple options at the same point. Or if you already qualify for one, then we are focusing on applying for that one that you already qualify for, particularly if it's a country that you're interested in. Chidinma, I don't know if you have some last words for our community before we call it a night.
Okay, so I'm just going to say, remember that, if you are actively contributing to the nation building of Nigeria, you'll be globally attractive. So I'm really not doing anything different except building here and, also contributing here, influencing life. Like, imagine if now that I have, like, I'm inside the global, I'm now a fellow of Edmond Hillary Fellowship, and I'm also in Nigeria doing a lot of work, doing growing my business, doing stuff, is because this is exactly what I'm doing. If I was only working on myself just so that I can leave Nigeria, and then now borders are closed and I can't get in, you'll be useless to the country where you are currently. So even as you're thinking of, traveling now, leaving Nigeria, or, becoming a global citizen, basically, also think through the fact that you have to be doing stuff. And it's people that are doing stuff here that, are global citizens, basically. So you have to think home before thinking. They say charity begins at home, right? So start doing all you have to do here, talk about it, and you'll be well positioned for opportunities.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chidinma, for your time. Thank you for joining us this evening. And we really appreciate, the fact that you shared a lot of insights with this community. We do really appreciate you. For Emigrate community, please don't forget, take action. It's one thing not to have known about this opportunity and then you didn't even know at all. But even if you know about these opportunities and you don't do anything about the information, I'm not sure you are much different from someone that didn't know anything about it at all. Start by doing your own research. Start by taking a look at what are the things available to me. Start by planning. And then if you need help as well, we are available within both the free services and the premium services that are available to you as well. Take action. Don't just listen. Don't just get inspired. Take action. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.